I reviewed about 50 articles and books that have been written in these 4 areas in those 20 years. Obviously, I could have read 200, but I needed to get it done. I reviewed all the work that I'd done. This was written before most of my commentaries. So how did digging deeply into Galatians and Ephesians and, don't laugh, but 4th Maccabees and what have you, kind of give me a lot more kind of depth and detail and precision to talk about how these 4 realms of culture work in particular texts. And of course, I've read a whole lot more in Greco-Roman and Jewish literature in those 20 years. So I was able to, and as I went, I kept pulling notes together and thinking, if I ever did a second edition, what would be important to refine the sorts of observations I made in the first edition. And I've kept kind of dabbling in certainly the first 2 of these 4 areas, all along with articles and what have you. So I was actually purposefully reading more broadly and creating some articles along the way. So all of that kind of leavens the first edition and makes it quite new. I calculated that it's 20% longer in terms of word count, and just entirely rethought. I mean, there's not a line that I didn't go over twice thinking, would I say that today, or would I put it differently? That's the part of who I am that my kids don't find most annoying. I'm pretty thorough.
But I mean, writing a book is hard enough. Writing a book on this, when you know it's going to be scrutinized, is pretty tough. But then
Well, no one told me that going into that. This was an early book. This was before I knew just how mean other scholars were.
Well, so, this is why they became mean, because you wrote it.
I wrote it, with kind of these wide-eyed, oh yes, I'll just contribute to the conversation. we're a gentle bunch. We're academics.
Yeah, that's not the case. Most academics I know, I mean, again, a lot of people in church have no idea, but academics have their own issues. I mean, they got their own groups, they got their own little feuds and things that are going on. I mean, everyone wants to make it nice and sound like it's great, but it's like athletes on a team. You get some of the guys, it's like, I don't like him. I don't like how he goes about his game. I don't like what he does. It's the same thing in any field. And now I know some people are like, oh, my whole image has been dashed. No, it's just made real. It's made very real because we're real people. Scholars are real people, and they're writing their material and trying to help us understand it. And yet there's always disagreements and things like that. But before
you don't write a shelf full of books without having some sort of personality disorder. Let's be honest. Right?
Little OCD.
There's got to be something wrong with that kind of person
to write a book.